Welcome back, creative thinkers. Cook here in another episode of Creatively Speaking, because the creators got something to say. I got my team with me, Kadeja, my guy J-Law.
What's going on, everybody?
Man, good people. We here for another one. First and foremost, shout outs to us, right? One episode down.
Yes, sirski.
You know, I know it was just a piloted run, and I've been feeling like, yo, we can really build on this. So I'm excited for sure, but let me not go too far. Let's catch up real quick. Let's start with you, Kadeja. How you been? Right, spotlight.
Yeah, so I went to Richmond, which is my hometown, and did a few things. But one of the best things that I did was I met up with one of my editing clients. So I do all of her YouTube editing and a few other things. But she had an in-person panel that happened on last Saturday, and it was ran by one of the hospitals in the area, and it was a panel about social media and youth and how they interact with social media. And she's a doctor. She follows Black women and how they interact with the world. So shout out to Dr. K. So I was there capturing content with her on the ground. So I always love like being in person with my clients. So that's what I did.
So was it the first time meeting her in person?
No, I didn't. We went to school together.
Oh,
so
okay,
I definitely know her. But
So friend of the show.
Friend of the show. But yeah, definitely one of the first times that we were able to collab in person.
That's
she
lit.
usually just sends me things on Dropbox and I edit it and post it on YouTube. But yeah, so actually seeing her cook in real life was super dope.
That just adds to the relationship. I feel like
For
when you're able to do things in person, especially in this day and age, it's just a different feel. It's making more real, and I feel like it's just going to make y'all relationship even stronger.
For sure.
I mean, you might as well go in there.
What's up
with you?
I mean, I was in Philly not too long ago. Last week, it was a creator talk. Shout out to Rec Philly. Did a creator talk with Joe Fresh Goods. He's a streetwear designer out of Chicago.
Love him.
Yeah. Been following him probably for the last 8 to 10 years. But the things that he does with storytelling is just crazy. So I went up there. I was kind of in a rut, motivational with my creativity and things like that. So I went there dolo. I went by myself. My friend Kenny. Shout out to Kenny. He sent me to play. He was like, bro, I think you should go. I'm like, man, fuck it. I'm going to just go. So my brother lives in Philly, so it's not ever a difficult move to make. And I'm just glad I went because it was one of those things where just being in the room, being by myself, being uncomfortable, it just helps the growth of keep going and things like that. And coincide with that, I started doing my YouTube thing. I've been trying to tell my own story, my creative process.
Love when the friends get on YouTube.
No, for real.
We need a sound drop.
Love that.
Yeah,
so
how was that?
It's crazy because I just know I have so much that I want to share. My thing is like, I just don't feel like propping up the camera. I just feel like it's not genuine. I feel like it's not real. But if you just put it up there and you don't even know that it's there, you just cook. You know what I mean? So my big thing is storytelling. I feel like I tell stories and I can really relay a message, very well. But it's just the effort of like, all right, I gotta set up the camera. I gotta convey it to the audience how they'll see it, not how I see it in my mind. I think that's the big thing that you have to find out when you're, doing YouTube and things like that. So it was the first one that I've done, and I'm excited for the journey to see where it goes. The key is stay consistent, Stay consistent.
You say the most difficult part is like talking to the camera? Would you
it's like you have to be conscious of what you're doing, in my opinion, and
narrate it.
Exactly. So I just feel like it's not natural because I'm a person where I live in my head. So it's like, all right, I really got to speak what I'm thinking.
Right.
And when somebody else is watching you, they don't know what you're thinking. So you have to really convey that and say every little thing to really make it tell the story to the audience.
Yeah,
so,
my thing is like saying it while I'm there, because I can always like do a voiceover of after the fact, but a lot of YouTube videos you kind of see the person in the moment narrating or like taking that time to like prop the camera up and then speak to what you're doing. It's a lot.
No, for real. And I gotta get over the intimidation factor. It's like I bring my camera out in public. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But now
you don't want to be the
I
know. Yo, but that's a good point, because I mean I think even for myself, like that's been my hurdle of like, I can set a camera up and just do my thing and not pay attention to it, but then I get home like, oh, I forgot to speak about that, or I forgot to get that type of shot, or I mentioned this and I ain't never touch it again. Like so I think that's super dope, and it's definitely inspiring for me. I mean, Kadeja's been on me about my YouTube.
On it. Yeah.
I have been cooking.
Let's go.
You
Let's
know,
go.
honestly, because of how my mind works for me, I think the way I'm going to do it is just I've been recording content. I'm gonna go and kind of do like a confessionals watch through, where it's like a mindset of what it looked like, and then release as like a limited series top of the year.
Gotcha.
So it's like the rest of this year, I'm capturing the content, and I'll do like maybe like 6 episodes or something in the new year. Because to your point, I'm bad in real time with it sometimes.
Right.
But the one beautiful thing that I've been liking about hanging out with my creative friends now is like everyone's capturing content, so now you got different POVs to kind of piece together what you got. So you know, honestly, it's trying to get over that hurdle. So that's hard, man. I love that for you.
Also, can we just plug like the promo for the YouTube that you did?
Oh yeah.
The layered story
with the text on it.
Listen.
I was like, that's what made me go check it out, because I'm like, wait, I don't follow my guy on YouTube, so I went to go see what you were doing over there. So yeah, you have a few other videos up.
That's gonna gas you up. Yeah. I appreciate y'all. I love that. I love it. Thank you.
I subscribed off that one. I looked at the story and I was like, hold on, it got emotion. He making moves.
Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. Shout outs. Law promo go crazy though. Like,
it does.
Honestly, top tier marketing. So, as far as mine, I guess I'll continue the theme of solo plays.
Yes, sir.
I did a solo play. I was like, for a minute, I was like, yo, I've just been grinding every week and like in and out of the weekends. Like they really haven't been my own where I can like chill out and do something that I've been wanting to do. Recently got a car back again, so on road and like making moves. So I went up to Sugarloaf Vineyard. That was just my only play of the day. Like, yo, get a car wash, go hit the vineyard, see what the situation like. I got some new gear as far as recording goes. So I was like, let me go test what this looks like. Let me go see. And so I took the Ray-Bans. I got the SD card connector for the phone, so I keep the Osmo on go. So like I was like, all right, let's go do this. And I'm out there. I'm like, yo, it's a good time. But I was like, I wanted to do more. Like I've been wanting to go to Glenstone Museum for a minute, and I was going to try finessing for some like little date type of situation. I was like, nah, I'm going to take myself. I want to go.
Date yourself.
Date yourself, So I was like, what does that look like? So I went to Glenstone. And first and foremost, I did not know that they had a Basquiat at Glenstone.
Was that your first time there?
Nah, I went before.
Okay.
But I went when it was about to close, so I couldn't go too far into it.
Pause the story. What's Glenstone?
Glenstone Museum is a museum in Maryland that's like an indoor museum.
Okay. It has like the statues outside.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the?
It's like a cow head, a grass cow head, and I hate to. Can we pull up photos? Like, do I have a photo? I do.
It's I forgot his name.
Wait, we can look things
Jeff
up.
Koons. He has the big flower dog head.
No.
You've seen it. Okay. You've seen it.
All right. With that said, we'll bring a picture up for the audience too, and I'm gonna show you in a minute too. But yeah, Glenstone Museum. It's like I want to say like a couple acres of just
for sure
art.
Yeah.
Indoor, outdoor activations. And they had a couple different galleries in it. And again, I saw a Basquiat. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen one in person. I definitely also shout outs to the Ray-Bans, and we're gonna put an edit point because this might have to get cut. But
I know what you're about to say.
Yeah,
that was slick. That was slick.
Yeah. You feel me? We'll talk about it off camera.
When I saw your story, I'm like, this.
I have no idea what's happening.
So just for the record, when you're inside those galleries, you can't take photos or videos.
Yeah.
So shout outs to the play.
Shout out to the technology
for sure, because I'm just trying to see.
Exactly.
In a museum, you can't take photos.
Because it impacts the art.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Especially flash photography.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
if you
video, I'm really not sure why
that's
they don't
unlike
do
video.
But the Ray-Bans, they automatically cut a light on when you are recording that indicate to anyone else.
But somebody gotta really be watching you to see.
Nah, yeah, you want my time too much.
Like, come on now.
But that was official. I love doing that. From there, like I said, I just went with like a free flow day. Hit the museum. Hit Target, got targeted.
Come on now.
When you go there and you spend more than you went there originally
I thought you meant racially.
That's why I had to clarify.
We in that time. I
understand the season of life. I'm aware, so I don't want no problems. But, it was a good day. It was a solo play that evolved. I kept adding to my story, and then from there, like, just viewing my story, I kind of looked at it like a episode of a show, like myself. Like, oh, well, what would this character like to do next? Bet, let's go do that. So
No, facts.
it was solid. So, happy to be here. And with that said, we got something to say. We got some things to talk about.
Yes,
So creative thinkers, I hope y'all ready to tap in with our topic for the day. The topic is creative vision. What's the play? So let's get into it. First and foremost, like, as creatives, there's always ideas coming into your head. Like, yo, I want to do this. I want to execute this. I want to be this. How do you decide, like, what creative idea to pursue? Like, which one to lean into? Is that something that comes up, or, is it easy in terms of, I know I'm going to do this first?
I think this sounds very cliche and not helpful.
We love cliches.
But I think a lot of times it's that gut feeling. And for me, anyway, when I just know, I have a lot of confirmation in myself when I know something is the right play, the right thing I should do. That's just always on my mind. And my thing is, when I have so many ideas in my head, if it's one that's like really sticking to me for like 5 days straight, I know I need to execute on it. And of course, it depends on the season that you're in, what you're coming out with, what's the situation. For myself, I think the creative ideas, they come based on how I'm feeling, because my artwork is based on what I go through life, nostalgia, things like that. So if it makes sense and it's like really in my mind for a long time, I know I got to execute on it. And I think there's no right answer. I think that's the thing with art, creativity in itself is it's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So something to keep in mind for my approach anyway.
For me, unfortunately, I've been in a place of monetarily what makes the most sense. Yes. So a lot of the times the things
real.
So at one point in time I was like looking for, okay, what moves me? Like, how do I want to present whatever I'm sharing to the world? But now, especially since I've moved into full-time creative world and trying to pay these bills, it's more so like, okay, which client am I really fucking with? Like, or which ones are most serious? Which one has the biggest paycheck? So that's kind of where I've been in the space of like, okay, I have to pursue this because the bank account is telling me I need to pursue this. But I am also in a place where I'm honoring myself as, if this doesn't feel good, I'm going to give you your money back or I'm going to say no every time. And I'm sitting beside a man, I had to give him his coins back because I'm like, I know, I'm going to get
it wasn't me, America. It wasn't me. I wasn't the problem.
I will always say, no, but for real, like me working for myself, I will always stand on 10 toes and say, like, if I don't feel like doing this, I'm not going to do it, and I'm blessed and thankful that I am still in a place where I can move that way. Because if that was the case, I might as well just continue to work for the man. Like, continue to work by 9 to 5.
Hey, I'm not the man. Yo, not the man. No, I see where the hand pointed, but I need this narrative to stop early.
I might as well have stayed in the 9 to 5 corporate world if I was going to have to do what they tell me to do, So I do still have some creative freedom in that aspect. But yeah, I definitely will tell clients no if I don't feel connected to the work. I will tell clients no if I'm in the moment and I'm like, you know what, I'm not feeling this. So I do have that creative agency, but do I have creative ideas that I can just pursue when I wake up on a Monday morning? Not really, not right now.
So two things, and one, I want to shout out Kadeja specifically for how she goes about like being upfront about her business and like, look, this is what I can do. This is my boundary. This is where it stops, and this is how I proceed forward. Like, communicating boundaries is I know tough in general. But especially as an entrepreneur, a business owner, where people are like, well, why can't you do more for me, like in that space? So
and especially with friends too, because a lot of times in the creative space, I feel like you work with people that are not only your clients but your friends.
Nah, for sure. And by the way, shout outs to Lou behind the camera, like Lou on the lens. I don't know, we gotta get Adam to the intro.
We gotta get you a camera, Lou,
and a mic, like Lou, like, and another thing, like, yo, I'm gonna look like the problem here.
This whole thing out of Let's do that one day.
Right, for sure. And so, no, I do like that. For me, when I think about, actually, I had a question for you first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you spoke about it being like kind of client first based on it being your business. And so how do you make sure, like, how do you bring your own identity and vision to what a client brings? Like, how do you go about navigating what you give a client versus what you keep for yourself, or do you put your all into it?
Ooh. Again, in the space that I am in right now, a lot of the creative ideas so if you put it that way, a lot of the creative ideas that I do have, I don't see them as my own. I see them as something I execute for the client. So yeah, a lot of the plays that I do make, I try to think of the things that I have already in the tuck that I may have perceived for myself. How can I use this to further the client? So if I can get them to 2-3 weeks of content, then I'll feel comfortable thinking about, okay, what does Kadeja want to post? Or like, what idea do I have for myself? But a lot of the times right now, I am on the back burner.
That's real. And I mean, it's always about like, it comes and goes in seasons, you know. And for me, creative vision is, you know, to what Law said earlier, it typically like it tugs at you, right? Yeah. Like it's an idea or something that you're like, yo, I gotta bring this to life. Like, I gotta do this. This network is a perfect example of just a creative tug. And the thing that, and I mean, anybody around me could speak to this. Anyone I talk to speak to this. I have a million ideas. I have a lot of, relax the eyes, people. See, I'm gonna look at the camera right now because but the honesty is, you know, what I do typically is, you know, I do think that, you know, it's a gift when an idea comes to you. It's a gift when you have a vision or something. And so I typically try to pull that thread for as long as I physically and mentally can, right? If I have the capacity to lean into it, it's like, oh, let me expand on this idea a little bit more. You know, if I'm in a synergy place where I'm creating with someone, it's like, yo, you know what? We got this present time. I'm going to lean into it, right? And establish what can happen. However, you know, I have to also when that window is done, I have to be realistic into what's priority and what comes next. And oftentimes, you know, I try to stretch out a process in time, be like, oh, you know what, I could do this and third, but I'm realizing more, and especially coming off of solo plays, like, no, I need to pour into one cup and let that fill up first before I'm pouring into everything else. And so here we are, creatively speaking, right? So with that said, are there any projects that you guys are working on that you want to talk about? Anything?
No?
He
can't tell us, y'all.
We not that cool yet. I just met America. Like,
you know, that's fine. It's fine.
That's coming though.
That's fair.
Catch me episode 4.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I know. Right now, I just had This is the network and what we're building here, and now this particular show being what we pour into.
Expand on CTLN. If this is the idea.
CTLN for sure. CTLN is really the ecosystem that I would love for the creative world to view and be. Like, I look at it like there's two things that we're trying to build that's impactful. That's lighthouses and bridges, right? Lighthouses is something people can see in the dark if they're way, way lost and they're like, oh, wait, that looks like safety over there. You know, I want to build a lighthouse with a network where creatives, no matter how lost they are, they know that this lighthouse is a good, safe place to land. And then bridges is like, you know, when you get on land and you're safe, connect you to opportunities, whether that's corporately, whether that's creatively, whether that's, you know, and just becoming who you want to be, you know, building bridges between where we are and whatever that opportunity may be and fulfilling that. And so the network is hosting content that shows that, you know, so it's like, you might have seen Starting 5, collaboration over competition. Like, honestly, if you look at how things have been released, you kind of get the blueprint on what our stance is and building yourself as a creative. Like, first we went verified in real life where you got to do it, right? Like, you got to build whatever it is you want to be. The next thing we did was collaboration over competition. And the reality is that as a creative, you can't do everything by yourself. You know, it is best when, like, we look online and see people like, yo, they did their whole video, all this by themselves. That's cool, but that's not realistic for everybody. Sometimes it is give and take, and you leverage what you have and what someone else has and kind of figure out how to build on that. And then right now, we creatively speaking, where, you know, you talk about what you do. You know, you stand on the principles. And so the network has been intentionally built out. Where we are right now, I'm super excited because I want to lean into just, like, if I got to show up online, this is how I'd rather be seen. Like, I don't need to, I'm working on the YouTubes, I'm working on the other things, but, you know, I'm tired. Like, it's a lot. Looking online, being online, like, I look at it like getting on social media is the same thing like going outside and being around people. You got flooded with everyone's ideas, and, you know, I try to find a way to separate that.
That's a good question. How do you choose what creative ideas you present to the world and when you present that to the world?
Damn, that's a good one.
I'm the problem.
Right.
I think for myself, one thing I do is I do like communicate with my audience to ask them, you know, what they want to see. And I do take in consideration what they want from me as well. I'll drop maybe an art piece and they'll say, oh, I need this in a hoodie, or oh, I need this in buttons or something like that. So a lot of times they'll tell me, but personally for myself, it just all aligns with what I got going. Sometimes it's easier to produce, you know, a digital drawing instead of doing hoodies because it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks to manufacture. So it just depends on the season that I'm in. I think currently for myself, I'm pushing a lot of my artwork, a lot of my art prints. Just dropped actually a paid in full collection, and I'm doing advertisements now. Please get that. Please get that. I'm doing advertisements now for that, and it's interesting because I'm reaching a whole new audience of people that I wouldn't have already in my network. And they tell me what they want to see as well. So you just take into consideration. You don't, you know, for me.
Market research.
Exactly, market research. I'm always a proponent. I listen to every suggestion.
Okay.
I only choose and take what I want to take. So
For sure.
I think that's the thing is really ask the people what they want, you know, from you, especially when you're a business. And I'm speaking of it from being a creative entrepreneur.
Right.
Because it plays a part. You got to make money for your business to run, but at the same time, you got to be genuine in your creativity. So it, you know,
So it seems like you had the art piece. You didn't ask them what they wanted to see necessarily.
Right.
You said, okay, this is what I have. How do you want it
exactly
to be moved from there?
It makes a big difference because I feel like concept, I'm strong in concept, and, you know, what I value, I know as other people in this world values that as well.
Yeah.
We all live the same lives. You know how many times people say that. So it's that aspect of, okay, that's the first step. The second step is how do you deliver it?
Right.
And I think that's a big thing that people need to understand, that has to marry the two together for it to be successful.
I feel like this is funny because I feel like you're in the middle of me and Cook on this whole,
We be beefing.
whole spectrum of when to release like something creative or when to move on something creative. Yes, because I am immediate. I'm dropping it. I'm a very real world in the moment creative, and I think you have a very good balance of the two. Okay, let me have my things in the tuck. Let me have my plan of action. I can pivot when I need to. I ask the audience in real time, and then you have Cook over here.
I can speak for myself.
That will sit on something for months.
Heat too.
Heat. Fire.
Hey man. But nah, and so funny enough though, because I think about this often because we had a conversation where it was just like, we are really opposites, right? And but I love everything that Kadeja does.
And I love everything because I've learned so much from you too about sitting on things and letting things marinate. Not sitting on it, but you know what I mean. Like letting it marinate and thinking things through before releasing. Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's just a product of where I am in my life, where it is, what is the value of my story? Like, how much is it worth to me, right? And it's like, I can just give all this away right now and put it all out there, and people can, you know, be with me currently, and some of it I'm still navigating, right? So it's like, who knows where this road's going to go? Join me on this adventure. That's the fun part. Right? And some people want to see that part of the journey. But for me, I feel like I've been in the pursuit of what it is to be a creative for so long that it's like, yo, there's certain things that I want to make certain that I speak on, but because certain people look to me for guidance in this space, right? And so there's certain things that I want to make sure that I'm certain about before I'm putting it out there to others, because they might think that's the way, and it's not. Because had I just kept up with certain things and dropped like, yo, we working on this project right now, we doing this recording right now, some of those things never manifested. Some of the things went left. Like, some of those things were terrible. Like, I mean, and that's not to be discussed publicly. But, you know, what I look at is I'm still on this journey. And granted, I don't know certain parts as to what I'm ready to share with people because I'm still figuring that out. But the areas that I have gotten down packed, I'm ready to talk about. Like, I can.
And that's where we differ. We've already discussed this. That I think that's the meat and potatoes of it all. Like, where it went left and I actually fucked that up. Like, that's where people learn from people. Sure. Like, okay, oh, she was doing this. She had to pivot. She talked about it on Instagram. And I'm not, first of all, you should not be getting advice on your day-to-day life from anybody online. Like, I feel like you should be, you know, taking taking heed or whatever, or hearing people's
Choose your
things.
heroes wisely.
Yeah,
Nah,
but
for
you
real.
shouldn't be looking to anybody for your day-to-day decisions, especially monetarily or
Oh, yeah,
creatively.
that's crazy.
So I don't know. I'll pause the story.
No,
there.
no. I mean, but I like that. And I think this is such a great conversation for like who we are collectively too, because I mean, I'm with you. Like people do need to know the story. But as I say, like when I talk about the value of it, to me, does that like is it going to be impactful now whether I share it, or is it going to be just the same if I'm on a stage 3 years from now and I can share it at a more valuable point where it's the eyes and the traction of it brings more to the table for me. Like it's like, yo, like I mean, if you want to see the journey, like I put out a song 13 years ago called Lonely Ride on YouTube. You can see the journey for that now. Like I don't need to repeat that process of what it means to lean into be creative. So for now, who I am now, the cost of it's different. The access of it is a little bit different, and I don't think everyone should have that access without me thinking of, well, what am I at least getting in return for putting that out there? Because the story's already done. Like I've lived it, I've gone through it. At this point, the question is, how do I give that back? And the funnel I put through it. And I just like to think about what that result is a little more, But
Hear ye.
we still here. And that brings us to a good point that comes up question wise. As we talk about what are KPIs, like what are the metrics you use to measure success and the output that you do. So like your creative output, whether that's sales,
like you be having KPIs.
Whether that's but it's a
I feel like you be looking at metrics and stuff.
But you know what's crazy? I seen you do it out the gate with the client you manage. I don't know if we want to put like who
I feel like you
work
got
with.
to though.
Yeah, but like you're talking about impressions.
Right.
You're talking about impressions as well. Like those are KPIs. So it's like what metrics do you look at as impactful in your space?
I feel like it's me. No, I think because I don't look at it often. I do because I have to. Like you have to show people like, oh, this is what happened.
This is the value.
Like this is the I have 5 new followers this month. But I think I like to look at it sparingly because I'm always shocked by it. By like how much we've actually have grown or how many impressions or all of those things. But I don't want to put so much stock on it because we can all get lost in the likes and we can all get lost in the follows, but what does it really mean if we're not building community, if people don't stop scrolling when they see something I post? Like what does it really mean? So yeah, KPIs and metrics, I always had an issue with it, but it in the back of my mind, of course, it always drives me. That's why I have like my small business, my Etsy shop. That's why I still have it open, because it does drive money. It does drive income. Like the cost is different from what I actually make. So yeah, I mean, I guess it moves you, but I don't want it to drive me to continue to do the work that I do at the same time.
I think with every question, it's always a shift on every side.
He's so level-headed.
We about to put him in the middle seat. I'm sick of this.
I'm over here.
No, it makes sense because you really got to shift between like for your creativity or for the business. Like I can't stress how much I try to be as conscious, and I'm not perfect. That's why I always try to grow every day, every month, to try to change my habits, because I'm an artist, I'm a creative, but I still run a business, and a business has to generate revenue. So in terms of those KPIs, I think a lot of times we take for granted, social media and having that as a place to really see in real life people that are noticing what you're putting out. It's virtual, but at the same time, it's some type of attention that they're giving. So it's funny enough, I literally just started running ads again last week after taking a 2-year hiatus of doing them. And it's crazy because like I get excited because I'm back in my bag. Like the tactics to see the link clicks and the impressions, to really follow that up to people that purchase from seeing it, it really makes an impression of like, you really have a system. You need those metrics. Like you need KPIs to see the success of how you're building, because if you do it blindly, you don't know which route to go in that aspect of it. So that's a loaded question, because it's like, how do you measure success off of KPI? And it's like, from the business side, it's always based on, if I put something out, how many people see it, and it has to drive them to my website. I can't just do likes on Instagram, because it's 1 billion people there. But you literally, there's literally no algorithm on your website to just have people there. It's already people on Instagram, on social media. So what's going to drive them to my website? So if I can get a link click and 2,000 people click the link in a week, I'm like, okay, I got something here.
Yeah.
So then you retarget those people to say, okay, now that you've seen the product, I'm gonna put it in your face again, and I'm gonna see if you buy it. And then, okay, you watch this video, okay, you watch it for 7 seconds. What are you gonna do next? And it's like you take them through this journey to finally do a purchase, and I feel like that's the leading factor for your success.
Nah, you body that, and also this thing he just like, because he talked about like click through rate, like the actual success of people, you know, seeing what you have and going from where they were to ultimately your ecosystem.
Exactly.
And we said KPI, but did we break down that it stands for key performance indicator?
Exactly.
So whatever performance metrics you're measuring, that is what your KPI is.
Exactly.
For me, it's people.
Yeah.
It's just people in general. Like it's actually that feeling of like, I see who watch my story and like the certain people who engage with what, like who likes what, and it's like, oh, I know you in real life. Like, okay, you navigate towards this. So like in my mind, this is on the radar of somebody that then if I see you out, we can build off of this.
Exactly.
Like it's my way of knowing like this is what we have in common ground. And honestly, I will say I know the process, and we are beginning it again for creatively speaking now in terms of, you know, your lead funnel idea. Like what's your big idea that's navigating people into the space, or your free giveaway, your lead generation, and what that looks like. But for me, it's really my measurement is when I go out and people are like, Cook, I know you done this, or I loved how you did this. Like when someone's like, yo, your Instagram live series and how you used to bring people up. Like for me, like if I can go out and you can resonate with anything that I've done, that's the win. Like I don't care about anything else. Like the money's gonna come, the deals, brands, all that's gonna come, and I can speak to that. Like I've worked with partnerships for 3 years in terms of my day-to-day job, so I know how to create those measurements. But
talk heavy.
Yeah, I mean, like shoot, we talk creative vision. I'm working on 2 Black History Month plays right now in terms of the JOB. So
we 4 months away.
No, for sure.
Exactly.
Like we locked in. So you know, I know what those look like, but for me, real impact is reality. Like if I go outside and it's actually a conversation that picks up off of something I've created, it's a win.
No,
and that's why you have to post your content. Though.
Literally.
Hey man,
that's why you have to post your content.
Oh, and that's the beautiful thing, and that's why I love CTLN, because for me, this was my way as the creator that I am to be consistent publicly without being like, while I still figure me out, you know, because I am separating some of my, like even while I was out at Glenstone and recording, someone was like, "What's your page? I want to follow you in the content." And I gave him a guy named Cook, and I was like, that's the wrong page. I should have gave him Marcus Story, because that's more my who I am, who I'm like trying to become more. And like again, I'm navigating that space. But the product, CTLN, we lit.
No, facts.
Hey, if you look at us, we've been active since the top of 2024. Like we've been putting out shows, putting out content, showing up at festivals. So you know, we consistent where we need to be, and I think that's for me. Whenever the network can show up consistently, that's a win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
So, with that, the last question under this category, and I think this would be a great way to close it out, is do you feel that all creatives, like any creatives, need a vision to begin creating? Like, do you need a vision, a plan? Do you need a goal in mind to start creating?
No.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say no. Yeah.
Nah, it's 100%. I mean, it's 100% a no for me. So, like, honestly, if you feel it, create it. Like, you know, I think a vision's nice. A plan, or and if I were to flip this in the lens of entrepreneurs, like, you know, you don't need a business plan to start. You need an idea of what you want to do and to lean into it. Business plan is nice. You know, get you a SWOT analysis.
I feel like that
weaknesses.
steers you in the right direction.
Yeah.
But
you know,
it's
not necessary,
exactly.
Right? And honestly, I would say, if you have just an idea, an idea in a circle, like a circle of people that you can kind of, hey, this is what I'm leaning on, test the waters with. I think that's the real good indicator to getting started. But I will also say be leery of a circle too. Like make sure it's people you can trust, because some people will shoot an idea down just because they don't have the capacity to hold it themselves. And nothing against them, but you gotta find your way.
And I think a lot of things like come to fruition by just doing it. Like a lot of people, a lot of situations, there's endless examples that you can give where somebody just did something at the right place at the right time. Yeah. They just took the leap, and good things come from it. And that's just I guess the story you can just say is you have to do it. It's not going to happen if you're going to keep planning and you're going to keep saying, I'm going to do this. But if you don't actually execute it, just jump out there.
Exactly.
You just got to jump out there.
Yeah. That's always my suggestion when people are like super in their head about something, or I need to have a plan about my YouTube, and they never even.
That's me.
Yeah.
That was me. That was me.
They never even like press
Exactly.
record. Like you don't even know what you want to produce.
I named Cook. She had my head.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Hey,
man. It's
Sound like a therapy session.
For sure.
Post your content, people.
For real.
Nah, for sure. Like honestly, we talking creative vision and what's the play? The play is you. Wherever you are in your journey, you know, follow that through and put that out there and see what becomes of it. Because the not alternative, but another part of that I think is important is the more you hold it in, the more your audience changes, and you might have a disconnect because you never got a chance to try it. Right?
Yeah.
You might find yourself like, oh man, this is something I was sitting on for so long. And it might not even resonate with you anymore because you've evolved as a person. And now you're not even letting your audience in on that journey and what that looks like. So I do try to give snippets of my journey. I do point people back to CTLN because I think that is where everything is going to evolve and go crazy. Now it's time for our favorite part of the show, Rate, Recommend Resources. And today is brought to us none other than by Kadeja.
Yes, so I am so excited about my rate and recommend today because they're all about some of my favorite artists. So the first one is Tyler the Creator's Chromakopia that just dropped as the date of this recording, like last week. It is his third #1 album and also just one hell of a rollout. So for conversation purposes, I would love to discuss the rollout and rate it amongst our friends here. I will say, spoiler, I am a really big fan, so I'm going to take a back seat and hear what my guys have to say first and foremost.
You said you got some rules. Is there?
Oh, the rules. Another thing that I noticed, some of our other, podcast bros, Joe Budden, for example, men really enjoy like comparison.
Okay.
And I want to steer away from that in this conversation because we are creatives and we understand like the beauty of being our own creative and not comparing other people's creativity to others. For whatever reason, men really enjoy that. So for this conversation, we will not be bringing up why he did certain things or why other people are doing this thing or like where he sits on this competitive bullshit that we call hip hop. So yeah, let's go.
All right. I mean, what's up? I've been doing homework on this, so I don't know.
Kick us off.
All right. So first and foremost, we want the thoughts first and the rate at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So first and foremost, love this campaign. It was announced October 16th.
Okay.
And the album dropped October 28th. That is a great window of interest and excitement for people. That it's like, oh, it's a quick draw. Like I like the turnaround from product, from rollout to product. You want me to keep going? Because I got like I don't want to.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm glad that you brought up the timing because I thought that it wasn't too long-winded.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too quick at the same time.
Right.
And I think we live in a time of like microwave content where either it won't be a rollout or it's maybe 2 things that they'll release in like a span of 3 or 4 days. And when you're that big of status of celebrity, you can get away with it. But I feel like it's a cop-out on the creativity from that aspect of it. But knowing who Tyler is, he's never going to cop out in that
literally the
aspect
creator,
of it.
right?
So it's one of those things that I feel like it wasn't necessary. It definitely wasn't necessary, but I'm glad that he did it because it brings a new like sense of revival. I don't know, it was just fresh. Like seeing
I
it,
liked it too.
I thought it was just very fresh. And some things I just didn't understand and I haven't done deep research into it. So I hope you guys can
like
explain
his
it for
creative
me.
like
Like
angle
the
on
gene
some of the reasons.
On some of the content.
I don't even know.
I was about to say you about to.
I didn't know if y'all knew.
I don't know. I get maybe, but I mean we'll dig into it later.
I got some top level things, but yeah.
Got you. So I definitely appreciate it. Like I just wanted to chime in on the timeline of the actual rollout. Right under 2 weeks, I thought was the perfect. Yeah.
Solid that. I liked it was the branding was simple and resonating. You got the green, making arenas green. He had the pop up where it was the transportation truck that was green that just said Chromakopia on it. So like all of that, like branding is very simple where it's easy to tie it to him. He also has And I'm just looking at the overall whole of his like Chromakopia. Like, you know, you got Camp Flognaw happening at Dodger Stadium in November 16th. So great timeline for that. But
The
then
tour dates
the
also
concert starts. Yeah, the tour starts in February. And so what I thought was really dope is he did these $5 pocket events similar to J. Cole's Dollar in a Dream, where it's low cost for the core fan base. Like a lot of times we say we love these artists, but we don't get a chance to experience it because it's out of our price range and price point, right? You got these $5 tickets, random pop-ups. You go there, you feel really a part of it. But it's also like, man, this is his quick show. The concert gonna be crazy, like, and now it's like a deeper investment. So, like, just the brand affinity of that, I think, is really dope.
It sounds like a great time to kind of check the audience temperature as well. Like, it's a great time to see, like, okay, what songs really pop for the tour, like, which ones probably need a longer set time. Like, I feel like from my point of view, it's always, okay, what is the purpose, underlying purpose? Of course, you want to connect with your fans, but what else can you really get out of these pop-out shows that he's doing?
And, go ahead. You got it.
I just had a question.
You gotta slow down because it's good.
Look, I told you, I studied. I came prepared.
I had a question, and hopefully y'all can have the answer. What was the first content that he dropped?
The video.
Video. But which one, right?
Paranoid, right? Paranoid.
Know it, yeah.
Yeah, know it.
Okay, was that the one with the airplane?
No, that was
That
I
was
was
the
dead.
second
That was the
one,
second
yeah.
one. Okay, never mind. Cause
This one was the one where it was a military line of men with different hairstyles. They were all masked up. They were going into the trucking.
Yeah.
Into the and then he blew it up.
Yes.
And it turned to color. Yeah.
But when he did that, wasn't that to announce the tour?
No, that was to announce the album.
It was? Oh, okay. I thought he announced the tour because when he dropped that, I went to who was he doing it? Yachty. I went to his page. And I saw that he posted it to see like if it was a collab post, but it was on the tour aspect of it. So I thought it was a collab project at first.
Oh,
the way that it dropped. But
Thank
then
God it wasn't.
as I saw the rollout and I saw Yachty wasn't posting as much, I'm like, okay, it's just Tyler in the aspect of it.
That was like the third video, I think, because he I thought it was a cool concept of him like trucking all these artists.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, this is me in Tyler's mind. I feel like he like had all these carbon copy artists, and then he pulled out Yachty, and he pulled out, I want to say it's Paris. Oh, I'm mad. Texas, Texas.
Okay.
I think is a very dope, like, young people. I feel old saying young people, but they're a very high energy rap group that I've seen at Camp Flognaw, and like totally, like, completely not what I would listen to as far as rap. But when I tell you these people were lit from the beginning of their set to the end, and so now they're opening for Tyler, and I'm really excited to see them on tour. I'm not a Yachty fan, but I am a fan of, I feel like it's Paris, Texas.
But I like that.
Yeah, they pulled them out and was like, all right, y'all with me now.
You going on tour with
and like shipped everybody else off. Like,
that's dope.
I thought it was a cool concept.
That's super hard, like to pull them out, and they are the tour artists. It's super fire too.
Yeah.
But to your point of like, you know, seeing what records resonate, love that he dropped the project on a Monday. I want to get back to early week releases for music because that gives you time to digest the project going into the weekend and actually like sing along with it when you're in the party in the club. Like, you know, Friday releases, it's like you're battling to keep up with music by the time you got to go out and experience it. So,
and also, like, is every artist, are you listening to them in the club? Like,
You're not.
I mean, I hate that that's like a measure of music. Like, I don't want to hear the Tyler in the club. I
want to hear Sticky. I want
fine.
Sticky can ring off in the club.
Facts. But I also think the reason it was a numbers thing. That's why projects drop on Friday, because you get the maximized week of first week statistics. And I like that. Now it's a fuck it thing. It's like I'm gonna drop when I want to drop. I'm not sure if he did it specifically for that, but
and still sold.
It's just going against exactly.
Numbers.
It's going against the rules.
We're not comparing nobody, but shout outs to Beyonce for changing that because she did the first like Friday drop. I think when she did that Beyonce album, man,
Gotcha.
pretty hard. But
Changed the whole game.
Changed the game.
And
But
now
I
Tyler's back
like
changing
that
it
art
again.
because I used to look forward to like Tuesday CD drops. Like it used to be a thing that gave you time to get ready before you hit the little dance hall on the weekend. And like,
You really like the club, though.
I mean, when I was young, chill. But the other point, I said the timing of it, the concert experience of it, the album release. For myself, I actually did rate this 1 to 10. I know.
No, that's fire.
For me, like if I'm talking about like just to something that you said earlier, like you did a rollout for something that's also still rolling out. Like we still have to get to the concert. Like so, you look at Chromakopia as a whole.
Concert's gonna be crazy.
You gotta go. You're going from October through February with this, and February and beyond, because the tour
If
starts
the
in
tour
February.
is long as
and
hell.
he hit some crazy spots, right? And he is known for his performances. So you're looking at that window for one project. I mean, the marketing is great. It hits all parts of his key demographic, whether you're someone who's an avid Tyler fan. For me, I don't consider myself one, but the way that the creativity came out, Thought I Was Dead was my hook this time. Like, when that came out, and I was like,
He was
oh,
rapping,
he's
rapping.
spitting. Oh, Tyler got something to say.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you know, I think even the timeline of, again, the I want to say the momentum that LA has right now is a key thing. Like, he just did the pop out with Kendrick, so now people are looking like, okay, you were
Who's
just
this
with
guy,
him.
yeah.
Who's close to this guy, and like diving in a little bit further. So when I'm talking about like my key indicators on what it takes strategy wise and how you're not only reaching your audience but expanding your base, I think he checked all the boxes for me.
No, facts.
Anything to add?
He got to put his own number. You know what I mean? I ain't no pressure.
I'm not going to lie. I got to follow it with a 10 as well. And the thing is, I'm not a Tyler fan, like, at all. It's songs.
Now
maybe,
you with a 10 out of 10 rating for the
nah,
friend.
for real. For real.
Now
like,
she ready.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
It's one of those things where it's certain songs that I like, you know, with Tyler, but with this, it was fresh. And I knew I give it a 10 because I don't follow Tyler. I don't follow his music. Exactly. So it's one of those things where it hit my social media. That's where I usually get my new information from. It hit my Twitter. It hit my Instagram. And it showed me, like, I want to dive deeper into this. And when something moves me from something that's off my radar, for me to follow it, that's you win. And I think in this day and age, it was something that was fresh, that's not seen a lot. And it's like, was it necessary? I don't think it was. But for you to do that and put the effort in, it showed that you're a true artist, like true artistry. I think I'm curious to know, like, everybody behind the scenes. I know we always talk about, you know, CTLN and the creators that's behind the scenes of it. But I'm sure Tyler had like a
Crazy
big play.
creatives,
A big. Well, I'm talking about himself had a big play in.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
In the direction of how it went. You know what I mean? So,
I would love to talk to
him
him about like his timeline on this, like just from like
Yeah.
ideation of project to rollout, because those are two different timelines.
Very.
Like how long he's been working on the album, like, you know. So Tyler, friend of the show,
If you ever want to come on, you know.
if on your DC tour stop, you know, let's talk creatively.
I do think, and this is me as a Tyler fan, I feel like it has a lot, it sounds a lot like his last album, and I wonder how closely was it recorded. I don't know if y'all are open to this. Call me if you get lost. I feel like it sounds sonically a lot alike, so I would be interested in seeing, like, if it was done at the same time and he just split up two albums. Yeah, I love that people are listening and tuning into Tyler, because I think he is one of the dopest creatives that we have in the music industry, just because of how well thought out everything he does is. And you can tell by this rollout and some of the other things that he does. He just creates worlds for his fans. And that's why I love Beyonce. That's why I love Tyler. And a few of my other faves, because they're so intentional about what they do in their craft. The only other thing I want to add, 10 out of 10 for me as well, but he did a few brand collabs that I love with Postmates. Pulling up to people's cribs if they ordered Chromakopia, the vinyl, he pulled up and hand delivered it, as well as the pop out. I keep calling it the pop out, that's Kendrick's, but his pop up shows were held in collaboration with Converse, which is like a play for him. If you are aware of like his Odd Future roots, Converse is just like an obvious brand that he should collab with. So yeah.
Hey,
Love
man,
it!
first off, I don't know. This is our first like 10 out of 10 plaque. Like, across the board.
for real.
Oh, we should like put it
like,
up, like, okay.
A graphic or something. Like, I mean, 10 out of 10. So shout out to you, Tyler. That was definitely dope.
No, for sure.
You are one of our favorite creatives.
Keep rolling. What you got next for us, since you got the heat today?
The next conversation will be another one of my faves. Ari Lennox went to live, I feel like a few weeks back, as the date of this recording, and suggested, she straight out said that she wanted to be dropped from her label Dreamville, which obviously I'm a fan. This is not conflict of interest. I do not work for Dreamville. However, sis was over it, and I think if we want to open up the conversation to just the struggle of independent creatives, independent artists, trying to go the traditional route with the label and then feeling constricted. Again, If we need, I got the facts in the phone.
I got facts too, but let me just speak as a creative and that cares about this artistry that we call hip hop and music as a whole. Man, we see it. The machine labels are kind of not as impactful nowadays, right? So you're just like tough to like. It's almost like it's better off being independent, right? In terms of as an artist, from the standpoint of just engaging your audience and what that could look like. However, not knowing all the ins and outs and we don't have a Dreamville insider, you know. So please, if you are a Dreamville insider, email us so we could help communicate this better.
Until you do better with Ari.
Ooh.
Just saying.
And but no, I mean, I think that you know, one, I really didn't know that her single came out. The only reason that I knew it came out is because Brian Lamont was doing some styling for her, and literally was like, you know, congrats on the new record, like some release event that happened in DC, and it was like, new record. Heard nothing about it. Like I actually, no offense, but I actually had to look the record up yesterday to play it to be like, wait, what is this?
What song is this?
What song is this? Like, what's the? Because I mean, there has been no identity behind even the song, like what type of style it is, like what it looked like, sound like. I don't know. Have y'all heard the record?
Well, I'm a fan,
so
I mean, it's different.
But yeah, I mean, I think a couple things that. Oh wait, we're not doing the recommendations yet. We're just talking about in general.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just trying to lay the foundation.
So foundation. One, I get it though. I get the frustration because you put in this work to get to this label. You're on a well-known brand and label, and you feel like you did your part. People greenlit it. Where's the marketing? Where's the follow through? Right? It's like coming to a relationship. Like, all right, I brought what I brought to the table.
They explicitly said that they don't believe in Google ads or advertising.
That's a.
Dreamville said this themselves.
Yeah, that's what she said,
right? We say interesting, but
right?
How you not believe?
We don't believe in Google ads. That's what she said. Also, another thing that really struck me was she doesn't have access to her own subscribers. Like, she's on a mailing list with everybody else's mailing list. She doesn't have her own control over her own subscribers, nor does she have an advertising Google ad budget.
So let me speak to that from a corporate side. Like, brands can't typically, like legally, like, you know, I know with the network, like we've done a lot of events, but it's told explicitly, like, you can't collect people's emails. Gotcha. You can't keep that type of stuff in data because all sorts of legalities of a local brand, right? And I think that's a dated mindset.
She can't have her own email list?
I mean, it's unless she sets one up herself and establishes that through her own legal team, she can't because reality is like, truthfully, we're funneling everyone's, you know, audience into this email list, right? Okay. So
it's like you work for us.
Yeah, like you're an employee. You don't get the contacts of everybody that works there.
But I'm like, you could. There's millions of ways to chop up a list. I'm just saying.
No, I feel what everything is.
Right, I'm like,
you're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong. But the I think that's the old business models just format. Like that's what we talk about, where it's like the way certain companies are built. I don't think it's sustainable in this current era where it doesn't make sense. Like, you're right, yo. Ari Lennox should absolutely have not only an email list, she should have a text message list. Like, Ari should be able to hit you, yo, Ari here, new single drop.
Go watch that.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, that's, and that wasn't even a recommend, but just I'm saying.
Hey.
Like, it seems like one of those things because we've seen the rise of influencers and how individuals own their audience. You just think someone of that stature has access to their audience.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jayla?
I'm just curious. I don't know. I'm not in the music business. So I'm just curious in terms of this goes out. It sounds like an emergency. You know what I mean? So my thing is, has this always been a thing and you just kept it under wraps? Did you discover this after Shea Butter Baby and you didn't say anything? Or are you just saying it now because you don't have the traction that you want for your... Like, have things changed? Because if you notice that you don't have access to your subscribers, the email list, are you just noticing? You know what I mean? So true. I just wonder, is it an aspect on her end where I feel like a lot of artists go through this when you sign with a label,
you just assume certain things.
Yeah, and when things are going well, you're not looking at anything. So it's not like you're projecting for the future or really trying to protect yourself.
Right. Until
it gets to a point where it's like, damn, I really don't have any traction. People really not seeing me. Like, it's not how it was in 2019 when I was on top. And I know the music business is going through a lot of change and stuff right now. So I don't know if they can renegotiate a deal or how that works with her. But it just sounds like it's a oh shit type moment.
Definitely an oh shit type moment because the single wasn't moving. And she also did say, like, if the single is shit, just say the single is shit. I don't really care for the song, Ari. I'm sorry. I am a fan. But it just seems, I wonder how much of that is Dreamville. And we can get into the recommend. How much is that is Dreamville? Because she seems as an artist is just a little lost in the sauce.
It was definitely a different pocket. Like, I played it. I actually don't think I finished the record.
I didn't.
Personally. I got the idea of the bop, but yeah, I was cool.
And I don't think a lot. I mean, this is. I don't know Ari personally, but I'm just going off of what she has showed us on social media. I know even before this, she did a big rant about deleting her social media.
That was another part of this rant. She was like, I thought about getting off social, but I can't because that's how people think I'm relevant.
Right. So I know she went through a lot of change. I know she was talking about her alcohol, being sober, and
she talked about that.
She changed her whole life. So it could be deeper than the music. It really could be. You just really never know from that aspect of it. But it just shows you when you get in those contracts, who knows if she has somebody to look at. I don't know. You just never know the whole situation.
I think to your point, like it's two things. It's the evolution of the business as well as, knowing like who's on the other side of these conversations. Like what are the who is in the marketing team and department, right? Because it's for somebody,
damn sure ain't nobody spending no money.
Right, it's like, yo, what's going on my record over there? Like, oh, this is such and such, this is the play. Like, there are certain things that she should have had answers to that she was like, they are telling me they don't have answers to. And to your point, I don't know. I already had a couple projects before in between Shea Butter and this. Like, she had the one that Tatted was on. What was?
You talking about ASL?
I think no, she had another project recently that
What was the one when they were in the hair salon? What
that was on Pressure, which is one of her biggest songs.
Yeah. I'm trying.
But the album flopped.
So I'm trying to, like I said, because to your point, like I listen to R&B music. She on like 3 of my playlists right now. So I'm just like, when did you realize that this wasn't a connection? Because it hasn't brought up, and there's been a couple projects even between Shea Butter Baby and now.
Yeah, I feel like she's been trying to like vocalize it, and that's why she went to the internet to like convey it, because it was the oh shit moment. Like, all right, well, I gotta tell somebody, and that was the only time she said that too. Like, this is the only time when I come on live and I talk shit like this. This is when it gets traction. Like, this is when y'all pick me up on the blogs. Like, this is when I get to be heard.
And it's unfortunate because it's like a what have you done for me lately business. And I know she's been going through things personally, as she has said herself. So it's not the way to go with labels. But sometimes if you're not doing what they need, it's all about the money. They're not
for real.
So I hate that it has to be like that. And this might be the switch for her to go independent. But with independence it comes a lot of different responsibilities.
So recommend us. What
that
you got?
Sounds like a good pivot to the recommend.
What you got? I mean, what you
got?
I don't know, Ari. So I really couldn't tell you.
Well, we could just go from like generally independent or artists in general, creative artists that decide to pivot from the corporate world. What would you say in a moment like
personally recommend this is a great time for her to try to get out her contract. You have enough fans. If you measure success based on what your highest top was, which was maybe 29, who knows? I don't know what the height of your career might be, but I wouldn't go off of that, because at the end of the day, you can always reinvent, rebrand yourself, but you're not starting at zero. And I think that's the benefit that she has. So I recommend that she tries to get out her deal. I don't know if it's based on how many albums she sells or does, but bow out gracefully, and I think you can definitely start traction on your own. And it's not like while she's still in her deal, she can't do stuff on her own either. Like, I'm sure she can, create things to create the traction for herself.
I got a list, so
all right, so for Ari, I was so busy trying to figure out what I was going to talk about today. I didn't even think about what to recommend to my girl. I do want her to get out of her contract. I do want her to be independent, because I think that it would free up her to be herself more, and not to feel so boxed in. I feel like creatively she seemed to me like a little disconnected from her audience. So yeah, I would co-sign with what J-Law said, and see what freedom, and build her own team organically. See what she can do.
Hey Ari, how you doing? I know we don't know each other. Cook, creative architect here. I got a couple recommendations.
Let's get into it.
And one, I think, I think one thing that can be done marketing wise is just take advantage of regional music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we see what happened with West Coast, we're seeing what South do. I think this would be a great opportunity. She especially for the single and a couple other records, a front porch with Nucci would be a really good idea
10
for
out
her.
of 10.
Something that she could jump on that's
DC
local,
based.
DC based, kind of get that pull because you bring out a lot of DC creatives when you do that as well. And I know DC creatives love promoting what they're a part of, right? And so I think that's a good way to get awareness in the area and build your buzz at home that can go beyond that. I think Ari should also hire a content producer to actually follow her. Like, as someone who doesn't want to be online, doesn't want to be on Instagram, work with someone like a 1710 studio, bring in the studio like, hey, we're about to go shoot the album, or shoot this record. Like, bring people in the process so that you can have content to put out that can promote the music beyond the music. Because if it's just a transaction of, hey, y'all, I'm here to sell y'all a record, go listen to it, people can feel detached from that, So I think that finding ways to kind of cut through the noise will be that. And I would say collaborate with influencers or content producers. Like, yo, sending this record to a couple influencers. Use this as the background for your Get Ready With Me. Use this as this way the song can get online traction as an option. And for herself, I think she can also partner with some people. Like, I would say she could partner with SoundCloud and do like some, one-off pop-ups with SoundCloud where it's like, somebody else helping to drive traction that this is happening, this is what's going on. But I would just, and that could be like exclusive, like, hey, first it's here, then it's on Apple Music and everything else because you don't want to limit that. But I mean, as far as what she can do, I think leverage the community that you built and also leverage your stature because in a lot of places you are big dog. People would love to work with you and people would be willing to collaborate with you because it extends their resume and also could be a dope project. So that's my recommendations.
No, facts. I'm curious if like, I don't know. I just feel like when you go independent and you do things yourself, it just comes with a lot of moving parts.
Money.
Yeah.
You gotta like, you have to really investigate what is it going to take to sustain this, right? Because that's where labels, studio time costs you this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm
the
sure
marketing
this is
that
the first
wasn't
time.
there, like the photo shoot costs, but yo, I promise, being in the DMV and you'll hear people like, oh, I saw Ari. Like, people see Ari around the way, right?
I haven't
and
seen
people
Ari
people
around
are
the way.
literally proud of her. People are proud of her. Like, they're like, yo, I just worked with Ari, just shot Ari. Like, I know her photographer, and it's so many people who love her as a person
And want to see her win.
and so it's like, yo, hey, my village, like, pour into that village. But that also depends on what type of person you are. Not saying she's a bad person, but she might not have the bandwidth to want to do that.
Yeah.
In your opinion, do you think she screams DC, DMV?
I don't think she screams it. Like, you mean like represents it or like she shows
like
it?
people like,
No.
oh, she's
No.
from DC.
Nah.
I think that's with anybody though. Like,
What you mean?
I feel like who is Wale?
No, I mean, no.
What you mean? Who is?
Fat Trail looks like he's from DC. That's what I'm saying.
But no, I mean,
But what
I
I'm
would
saying
say,
is like you just know like she DC. I don't think
But-
people think that when they see. I
mean,
don't think she has a
How do you say you're
But
from
I would
DC,
even
though?
say, what's his name? Oh, Brent Fires. Like, he speaks enough of this region that you
You
get
know.
that he's around here. He's from here. Like,
got it.
He
And
claims
when-
it to that point.
And when he like kind of popped, he was from here.
Did it cut?
No, we still good. We were just talking about, is it about to cut soon?
All right,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
We're
We're
I
almost
mean, I
done.
think we're to that point. Like, to your point, it's like, that's why I think like region based. Like, you need to kind of hone a region swag. Like, even if that's working with a region artist, whether that's a Fat Trail, whether that's a Wale, a little bit more like.
I wouldn't mind a Brent Fayez and Ari situation.
I wouldn't mind it. First off, the joint that him and Coco Jones did, The Moment for Life, could have very much been an Ari record.
could've.
Again, but is this a Dreamville issue or is it an Ari
That's the
issue?
thing.
I
Yeah,
feel like some of the recommendations that you had were not like, not to say they weren't great, but they won't like about to shake the earth, So
Nah,
I wonder how many of
it's
these
a
things,
step, like,
how many of these things like were on the bottom floor because Ari is up against a J. Cole, because Ari is on the same label with the Earth Gang.
I mean, and that's
Or Jed, because
it-
who went crazy last year.
It's really about who's hot. Yeah.
But
And
even
she won't.
still, because like even when Jid and them are popping out with a record, he gets a little bit more active socially, like digitally too. Like when he's like, "Yo, my record about to come out," you'll see him do a feature or pop up. Like I mean, I just feel like Ari's like, "Yo, here's the music."
I don't think she's big enough to do that. I personally don't think she is.
Like that's a Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like that's a hey.
Here we go
here's-
with comparison again, y'all.
But I feel like
No, we broke the rule.
yeah.
We broke the rule. All right, my apologies. With that said, Ari, really wish you the best thing
For sure.
in what you're building. This ain't mine though. This is yours.
Yeah, so I love the rate and recommend. I feel like we did
That was
great
a good
job,
one.
y'all. I did that. So make sure y'all tune in when it's my turn again.
No.
Hey,
Just kidding.
2 more episodes. She right back at it.
Just kidding. And the last one is a resource, which we always love to leave our friends with.
Yes.
So I can go first. As a social media manager, the resource that I want to give to you is Metricool. It is a free, and I do mean free, free for real, scheduling app that you can use for Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Yeah, it's great. Really, really great. I recommend all of my clients to get on it. Yeah. You can
I'm taking
schedule
that
all
one.
of it. Yeah, you should. You can schedule all your content for free, and it's really smooth. And you can see like your preview of what your feed will look like. I love it.
Oh, I love that. All right. My resource. I'm the gadget guy, so I always got to have a new gadget. I alluded to it earlier, but the Meta Ray-Bans. One, it's a person who just like shades. It worked out perfectly for me. But I love them because I think that it allows for just to be in the moment, hands-free. Just a simple click on the side of the glasses and you're recording. But you also can educate yourself. You can just say like, hey Meta, what am I looking at right now? And it can kind of provide you with some factual information
Living
that
in
you
the
need.
future.
So, as someone who
fire.
likes to learn and be on the go, I recommend the Meta Ray-Ban glasses.
And for my recommendation, I've been in my e-commerce bag this week, got back and doing ads and things like that. It's a website called HotJar, hotjar.com. It's a code that you install on your website and it allows you to watch people on your website. Literally watch what they do on your website. Now, it protects their information so you don't know who it is. But it helps you track their activity so you know what's dropping off. Okay, they're going to look at a
that's so
picture, but they're
good.
not adding to your cart. Or they're doing this, but they're not checking out if they add to the cart. So just allows you to go through the analytics. They have a free plan that does 35 recordings a day, but then you can upgrade as well where you can get unlimited recordings and just find out the funnels that people are going through to get them to check out at your website.
And you
So,
can probably see the glitches in your website too,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
what barriers you have. That is
for
good.
sure. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a gem.
With that said, another episode of Creatively Speaking. We appreciate you creative thinkers out there, you artists, strategists, visionary go-getters. We all out in these streets. Keep creating.
Yes, sir.